everyone, I'm Alanah and welcome to my channel where today I'm doing another Q&A for December 2020. We almost made it, boys! This video is sponsored by Keeps. We will hear more from them somewhere in the middle, but for now, let's get to the questions. Also, if you want to ask questions for January, leave them in the comments of this video, because that's how I pulled it from the last video. That's how the thing works. Frugal said, I would love to know the events that led up to you being hired by Santa Monica. Was it something that has been building for a long time? Yeah, you could make a really boring compilation of every time that I have spoken about working towards that goal on this channel for sure. I feel like I've mentioned it repeatedly over the last few years that the next step that I wanted to take in my career was to write a video game, that my two passions have always been writing and video games, and that I've always worked to combine the two. And basically the events were, you know, I'd already been writing in the games media side for about 8 years and have always had a passion for creative writing, have done a significant amount of creative writing in my career, just in smaller ways. I've written books my whole life. I do actually have a couple of things published, you know. I was thinking about it when people were asking me, and I was like, I actually do. I have a poem published in a coffee table, and I think 2 short stories have been published as well. But I also worked on some game jams, have written on a number of video games and animated series. So basically it was just stuff that I was working on very quietly in the background. Maybe I was too quiet. There's stuff that I don't feel like I'm quiet about at all. Like, I studied journalism and entertainment writing in university. I did that for 4 years. Knowing that the 2 things that I care about are video games and writing. Those are pretty much the events that led up to it. Just a very distinct plan and a lot of professional efforts to drive me towards the thing. Jaffaman100 said, hey Alanah, I have a couple of Cyberpunk 2077 related questions. Did CD Projekt Red allow you to any creative input when designing your character? No, I had no control over that. And are you concerned about the possibility of modders doing odious things to your character model? No. It has been a weird thing to observe though. It's like people don't think that I know how mods work. I covered mods professionally in my career. I covered Witcher 3 mods even. There are videos. You can still find the stuff that I wrote about those. But no, I don't care. This is not a thing that concerns me even a little bit, because it's not me. Obviously people make deep fakes with my face on them. Still not me. It doesn't bother me in the slightest. I did post some pictures of this recently, but I wasn't scanned in any way. They had me send some specific angles of pictures of my face. I did send them a full body shot, fully clothed, you jerks. But otherwise it was actually a really cool process to, you know, send off that stuff and then just be waiting and then get an email in my inbox one day and be like, hey, here's what you look like. It was really exciting. So for anyone who doesn't already know, I can't talk about it too much yet because of the embargo, obviously, which is really close. I'm sure I have every intention of streaming the game as soon as I can. And, you know, probably will post a reaction to finding myself, but I am only available in the Nomad life path. You will find me. I feel pretty confident in saying that. But I don't even know my character's name. I don't know if it's Alanah. It might be. I genuinely don't know. But yeah, I think there are definitely going to be some negative reactions. Thankfully, I did have a little bit of experience before then. I think I'd done 2 games before I recorded for Cyberpunk, if I remember correctly, which was in a booth way pre-COVID. So, but I already have had such a positive response to being involved. I'm mostly just very excited for everyone to play the game completely separately to me, obviously. Having played it already myself. And I'm sure I'll see a lot of really positive reactions. It's time to talk about keeps. Did you know that 2 out of 3 guys will experience some form of male pattern baldness by the time they're 35? Well, the best way to prevent hair loss is to do something about it while you still have hair left. And I do know a number of people who've tried keeps, who basically already had a significant amount of hair, but are just trying to keep it full, keep it luscious, and it has worked quite beautifully from what they've told me. Because of the way Keeps works, you can also visit a doctor online rather than having to go in person and get hair loss medication delivered right to your home. Very importantly, Keeps also offers generic versions of the only 2 FDA-approved hair loss products out there. FDA approved. We love to see it. Find out why Keeps has more 5-star reviews than any of its competitors and why hundreds and thousands of men trust Keeps for their hair loss prevention medication. If you're ready to take action and prevent hair loss, go to keeps.com/Alanah Pearce or click the link in the description to receive 50% off your first order. That's keeps.com/ALANAHPEARCE. Lyndon Campbell said, now that you are a writer for a big video game, congratulations by the way, thank you. What is the next big goal you want to set yourself for the future? Don't have to be job related. I am very goal orientated. I always know what my next path is and what I want to do and how I'm going to get there and the things and the skills that I think that I need to get to be able to get to that point. The truth is right now I would like to write video games for a very long time. I'm a junior right now, so ideally I move up. And then maybe one day I will direct. I could also see myself potentially getting into film and TV writing, but I can't imagine ever fully leaving video games for very long. But that's very far away. Very far. I don't know. Outside of professional goals, I have been wanting to start a foundation or an organization for a particular thing, basically like starting my own charity. But that is pretty complicated in the US on a visa right now. They've rejected my business application already. So that is something that I would like to work towards, to eventually, you know, having it be able to run itself and being able to staff it for this particular thing that I would really like to do. But I feel like that's probably pretty far away. It's pretty complicated. Hossein Mehdi said, how do you start your day off to be this productive? Also, congrats on the new job. Seeing your name on the end credits of new Santa Monica games is going to be lit. Thank you. I'm actually most productive at night, is the truth. I'm useless in the morning. I don't wake up and have my coffee and have my breakfast. I wake up as late as I possibly can, start working, have to be awake for a few hours before I even attempt to eat breakfast. But yeah, not a good morning routine. Very productive afternoon, nighttime is my truth and has always been that way. You don't want to try to get me to do anything useful in a morning, let me tell you. Josh R. asked, what's something you'd like to do in 2021 but you'll only find the motivation if we harass you? This is a good one. If I can use the power of peer pressure to make me do something? Okay, yeah, I'm gonna be honest. It's work less. What I need you to do, YouTube subscribers, is help me make less YouTube videos. I have gotten editors, which is the only reason I'm still able to upload with the same frequency that I was before. I still think that the amount of streams will probably go down starting next year. It's just we have stuff that I had planned through the rest of 2020 because I plan my YouTube content really far ahead. It will decrease, but if you guys could help me, you know, if I'm uploading too much, that's a sign that all I'm doing is working from 9 a.m. to 2 a.m., which is, you know, an Alanah habit. Could you tell me to fuck off, please? Be like, bitch, get the fuck off of YouTube. Nobody wants you here. And I'll be like, you're probably right. Kayla Kenny said, hi, Alanah. I just built my first PC for gaming. What game would you suggest I play first on it? Kayla, that depends on your taste. I don't know you. I don't know what you're about. But I'm going to suggest Red Dead Redemption 2. I was actually very public about God of War in 2018 being my game of the year over Red Dead Redemption 2, and some people were very upset with me for saying that. However, Red Dead Redemption 2 is crazy pretty, and I remember the first time that I played it on PC, and played around with the photo mode specifically, just being like, damn, she looked good. So that would be my loose suggestion. Not knowing you, Kayla, I really hope I don't let you down here. I hope I didn't mess this up, because you only get one chance to have the first experience of something on the new thing, and now I'm nervous. Jared Whipple asked, what do game studios look for when hiring a video game writer? If I write stories in prose, is that fine, or should I show that I can in other mediums as well? Being that I have never hired anyone to write a video game, I have no idea. I can tell you, as mentioned, I did study entertainment writing, which meant I took classes on creative writing and screenplays and technically narrative design, though it wasn't called that. I have written virtually every kind of fiction. And I submitted something that proved that I could do dialogue trees. They didn't ask for that, just something that I had worked on for another studio that was a scene full of dialogue trees, which is so much fun to write. I submitted a screenplay, short stories, a bunch of different stuff. Obviously important to be a good and experienced writer, but your writing will show that. Being a culture fit is important, and also, especially for any kind of writing. The same definitely applied for IGN, as I imagine it would for a lot of game studios. Having a different background or something that makes you different from the rest of the team, so that you are bringing your strengths that other people do not have. Which is where it becomes something that is up to chance, up to you being the right fit, and up to you not worrying when you get rejected. Someone else is better for that particular team or better with that particular style. Or in a lot of cases, you know, for me going for a junior position at Santa Monica Studio, they'd never want to hire someone who has too much experience. That would rule those people out, because then they wouldn't be a junior. But this is a guess, as I have not hired anyone to work on a video game. Ross Barton said, assuming you post this prior to the event, yes. What world premiere announcement or trailers are you hoping to see at the Game Awards? I'm just going to say what I say every time, all the time. Bloodborne 2. Gabriel Warmbrow asks, what's like your biggest fear now as a content creator and as a influential person in the gaming industry? That there will never be a good reason for me to go back to Australia. Maybe that's not the right way to phrase it. Of course, my family being there is a good reason to go back. I think about it every day. But I mean that in order for me to be with my family, I have to sacrifice the entire career that I built, which of course they don't want me to do. That there are no opportunities that will ever show up in Australia that will be as good as the opportunities that I can be offered in other countries. And thus, I will not live in Australia again. That terrifies me. But I'm kind of hoping that an upside of, you know, a year full of terrible circumstances for a lot of people is that people working remote or being allowed to work even in other time zones is kind of more allowed across the board. So if I want to go write a AAA video game 1 year from home, which I still call Australia, then hopefully I will be allowed to do that. Evan Cashman said, how old were you when you first started to love gaming? I was 3 or 4 years old. And when did you want your career to be based around them? I started my career in video games when I was 18. I might have even been 17. That's when I started as a writer. And then I was a writer for about 3 years before I worked on camera and worked on radio. And then obviously got hired as a writer at IGN. It's actually been my job title everywhere I've worked except for Rooster Teeth, where I still wrote almost every single day this year. So yeah, when I was 18, pretty much. I'm lucky to have figured it out early, but again, the combination of those two passions I've always had kind of made it make sense. The Hypers Picnic said, I'm turned 25 this month and it's a rough time. What were your biggest aspirations at 25? I actually answered this question, but I'm going to answer it for everyone else. I was 25 just over a year ago, and my biggest aspiration was to write a video game. Or to get into games writing, at the very least. So pretty much all of the rest of the comments are people guessing what I'm going to be doing for a living. There's so much G4. I never would have done that. It's either CD Projekt Red or Xbox. I replied with lol. So funny. That was the most common guesses for sure. CD Projekt and Xbox. She's about to join Microsoft. Am I? Alright, that is pretty much it. I think I've answered everything else. Which means, you know, obviously a very new job-focused Q&A. But hey, that's alright. It's allowed. Sorry I can't give you really any information, though. To anyone who's missed it when I've previously spoken about it, part of that is that I don't want to. It's really nice to have a job that I get to keep private, that I don't have to share with the public. I'm very excited about that. It's very nice for me to have that be completely separate, where previously it felt like my professional life was entirely public, because it was. So yeah, I will not be talking about anything, even if I'm allowed to. Maybe somewhere down the line I will, but not anytime soon. Apologies. I know that that can be frustrating, but of course, if I feel like there's any opportunity for me to inform people or help people in any way, then I will share any information I can. But for now, it's off limits. Stop limits. Stop asking. Alrighty, everyone. Remember, if you want to find out more about Keeps, there is a link in the description below. But otherwise, I will see you guys next month. Bye!